Hey, you guys, happy Thursday and welcome back to Icon Energy. I know I was out last week. I was on vacation and I needed it. So we were up in Tennessee celebrating one of our good friends' engagement. And honestly, we had a really good time. I rode a mountain roller coaster, which was really cool. If you haven't caught the clip, I think I may add it to my profile grid on my personal page. Speaking of, I do have a personal page now, so if you're not following it, it's literally at Coco Gun with a Koco Gun Gunn, and that's on Instagram. That's just kind of where I'm going to have my lifestyle things going. My personal page now is just strictly coaching, the voice architect, all that great stuff. So again, welcome back. And I'm excited to be back because again, we are about to end the first month of 2025. So how's everyone feeling? I know usually what happens in the first month of the year, we are setting goals. I mean, my vision board is right here, right? We're setting goals. We are looking at our vision board and we're trying to just make sure this is the best year ever, right? But sometimes you get maybe 2 to 3 weeks in and you're probably thinking to yourself, did I bite off more than I can chew? And that's not necessarily the case. It's probably you're just not really planning out exactly how you're going to accomplish your goals for this year. But I can relate because I've done that to myself on multiple occasions. And this month, or this year, I actually decided to break down my goals by quarter and, utilize that to my advantage. So for this quarter, which is going to be January through March, I am focusing on learning, really learning, developing, growing, working on myself, working on my craft, and spending this time just really in the weeds of personal development, reading several books, listening to podcasts, and filling my own cup, and of course, working on myself. So if you thought about that, or you're just kind of like, I feel really just overwhelmed, and it's only been not even a full month, not to mention everything that's going on in politics can also be overwhelming. Everyone's, having certain opinions online. So this month has been a little bit rocky, I'm sure, for everyone. Now, for me, listen, this weekend is a prime example, right? I am preparing for a huge event next week in Miami. My dance company has rehearsal. I have someone coming to stay with me at my house this weekend. So I am thinking to myself, how am I going to navigate all of these things that I want to get done, especially when it comes to having company? I am that person that panics over dog hair because we have 2 dogs and we love them, but dog hair, making sure the linen is clean, making sure the bed's made, because you don't want anyone showing up to your house and they're like, wow, you're a terrible housekeeper. Not like they even care. I guarantee you, when I go to someone else's house and they have pets, the last thing I'm looking for is how much dog hair is on the floor. But for us, we automatically are thinking, man, I got to clean this house. So I know for me, I've had to sit down and really prioritize my actions towards my to-do list and eliminating that feeling, not completely, of being overwhelmed. So right now, we're going to talk today about how to stay confident and focused when you feel overwhelmed. And this is perfect because you can utilize these skill sets as you go into the rest of the year. So I'm glad to be touching on this topic right now because I know for a fact I'm not the only one that's experiencing this. And it typically happens at the beginning of the year, which is why a lot of times you don't accomplish your goals, is because you may have bitten off more than you can chew and you didn't know how to prioritize those things effectively. So today you're going to learn a little bit about why overwhelming impacts your confidence. I'm going to give you some simple strategies to regain focus and, of course, take control. And lastly, how you can actually take feeling overwhelmed and use it towards growing. So let me ask you a question. Why is it, right, that when we feel overwhelmed, it hurts our confidence level? And it typically starts with the idea of, oh my gosh, I didn't finish my to-do list. I am not cut out to do this job. I'm not cut out to do this experience. I'm not cut out to do anything. I just cannot, right? That typically is what happens. You maybe have an extensive list of things that you have to get done. And it can be overwhelming. You can look at it and be like, there's no way, I don't have enough time, right, to do this. So what, you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm not going to do any of it. I'm not going to do any of it. And what happens is you get into what's called, you get paralysis. You're basically stuck. You're saying to yourself, you know what? I don't feel like doing it. I'm gonna sit on the couch. I'm gonna become lazy. I'm gonna watch my favorite Netflix show. And then tomorrow you're gonna wake up and be like, gosh, my list is longer because I didn't do anything yesterday. And you feel even worse. It's crazy how sometimes what we will do is we are looking for that bad moment. We're looking for that. We will set up a tent in the negative headspace, build a campfire, roast some marshmallows, because it's weird. It's easier to stay mad than it is to get over things. It's easier to stay in a negative headspace than to move to a positive headspace. Blows my mind. So just because you're overwhelmed, it doesn't mean that you're not capable. You have to really look at how you can shift your mindset to say, okay, here's what I have going on. How can I make some progress towards this list? Because it's not always about completing the list. It's just taking action, because your to-do list is going to be around forever. I have a running to-do list, as a matter of fact, and that's okay. I'm chipping away and I separate the top items I want to work on versus the full list, because then I'm not getting overwhelmed by seeing all these things I have to do, and I'm focused on just a few things that I want to get done. So let's talk a little bit about some strategies, right, that can help you not feel so overwhelmed and allow for you to take action towards whatever it is that you're working on. So first things first, you want to prioritize 3 things. So it's called the 3-task rule. So you're going to break your to-do list down, right? If you have a list of 20 things, break it down to just 3 and prioritize them, right? You can go through your list and say, okay, I want to do 7, I want to do 8, and I want to do 19. And then separate those from the list and work on those 3 things. It's going to be a lot better for you than looking at an extensive list in the hopes that you make it through half of it. I'm going to get half of those things done today. How are you going to get them done? You have, on top of your day-to-day life, right? Some of us have a job. Some of us are working on our business, have a husband or a wife, maybe have dogs, maybe have kids, maybe have 2 or 3 jobs. And then you have this to-do list that you have to work on. You're going to feel the pressure. And I can guarantee you that to-do list is going to continue to get longer, and you're never going to chip away at it because you're looking at it like, okay, it's too much. It's too much. I cannot do it. I'm over it. So just break it down a little bit. And if you feel like, okay, maybe 3 is not enough, maybe let me do 5. Check off those 5, go back to your original to-do list, and then mark those off with your list. It's progress, right? The next thing, and this is something that has been my goal going into 2025, is setting boundaries. Typically, when we feel overwhelmed, especially when we don't set boundaries, it's because other people are placing their expectations on us. And here's the deal. You are not responsible for managing other people's expectations of you. So there should be no reason why you're feeling overwhelmed by someone else's ideas or thoughts or expectations of you. That's them. Nothing to do with you. So I highly recommend that you literally take this moment to set some boundaries for yourself, whatever that looks like. It is 100% okay to say no to things. And this is coming from someone who is a former people pleaser. And when I tell you, when you change the way that you handle things, when you start to set proper boundaries for yourself and no longer are accessible to people, you're going to have some frustrations and you're going to ruffle some feathers, because typically when you're a people pleaser and you're in that mindset, a lot of people benefit from you showing up, you being there, you giving everything. And at the end of the day, you cannot pour into other people if you're not pouring into yourself. It's impossible to pour from an empty cup. But yet, I'm sure those of you that are watching have been there. I've been there myself. I'm giving with the mindset of, oh, you know what? If I give, if I show up, that energy is going to be returned. And that's not always the case, because you can't control what people do. You can't control if they return that energy to you. You can only control yourself. You should be a priority, which means that you have to set boundaries, which means that you need to feel comfortable saying no. You need to recognize that, hey, I don't have the energy, I don't have the capacity to show up for someone else today because I'm barely showing up for myself. So set some boundaries. Say no, and I promise you, you're going to not feel as overwhelmed. Feeling overwhelmed by someone else's expectations of you is absolutely crazy, but we do it anyway. So 2025, I recommend that you stop that and set some boundaries and say no to people. No is a scary word and it's uncomfortable to say. So maybe every morning you get up in the mirror, you look at the bathroom mirror to yourself and be like, no, 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 just so you can get comfortable saying no. Next up is I want you to think about taking small yet immediate action. Okay. You don't have to just jump off a cliff to make it to do an accomplishment, right? Anything that you take that's a small baby step is still considered action. And what happens is when you take action, guess what that does? It gives you clarity around the list, around whatever project that you're working on, and it builds confidence because you're automatically looking at yourself like, I've already done that. I've already made progress. I've already taken action, and it feels good. So instead of taking huge, huge, huge steps, take some small ones and see what happens. You're probably going to feel a lot better about that list or that project because you've chiseled away. It's kind of like chiseling away at a glacier, right? Keep chiseling away until it's gone. Same thing with your to-do list. Number 4 is, this is one I think I've talked about multiple times on Icon Energy, and that's reframing your negative thoughts. It's hard. And I still to this day don't understand how we get so caught up in the negative mindset. It's weird. It's super. Think about it. When you get mad at someone, right? You want to stay mad, no matter if they apologize. Sometimes if they apologize, okay, but for the most part, we stay mad for a while. Some of us stay mad for a while, hold a grudge, and it seems easier to do that than to be like, oh, okay, you know what? I accept your apology. Thank you so much. It's called ego, and we need to get that in check. So reframe your negative thoughts about yourself. Instead of saying, I can't handle this, say, okay, I can figure this out one step at a time. What you say to yourself absolutely matters. If you continue to talk negatively to yourself, say bad things about yourself, that's what's going to come to the surface. That's what you're bringing into your life. That's what you're bringing into fruition. So you have to say, okay, you know what? No, absolutely not. I can do this. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to figure out how to make it work. That is taking action. Instead of saying, oh, you know what? I'm done. Nope. I'm good. Don't want to do it. Don't want to. Nope. Forget it. So try your best to reframe your negative thoughts. And that's a lot of the reason why I'm focusing on personal development and learning this quarter, is because I need to get my mindset in the right place. If I want to be successful at my job, in my relationship, with my friendship circle, with my dance team, this has got to be in check. And sometimes it takes taking a step back from things and saying, okay, I'm going to use the next 3 months to focus on here and here. Because if these two are in alignment and they're connected, you can pretty much accomplish anything. But when they're not, your life is chaos. So next up is celebrate progress, not perfection. And I'm sure many of you have heard this phrase multiple times: done is better than perfect, which is true. Because we are so focused on making sure that all the ducks are in a row that we lose sight of the event or the action or the project. We're locked in at like, no. I have to make sure my template is perfect for my Icon Energy live stream session, instead of just working on it day by day by day and going with the flow. It's so much, because again, we put so much emphasis on what people think about whatever it is that we're working on, that we feel like we have to make it perfect, when in reality, they're not concerned about you. And that's the truth. As harsh as that may be to hear, no one cares. So do you, and just make baby steps, take action, celebrate that, hey, you know what? Today I had a list of 20 things to do and I got 5 done. That to me is progress. I'm working on this project and I have to do a 20-slide presentation, and I did 5 slides today. That's progress. Yes. Get over the mindset of perfection, because it will eat you alive and it will put you in what we call the paralysis phase, where you don't do anything because you're so focused on it being 100% perfect. And trust me, you're not alone. I'm 100% guilty of it too. And I've been there. I'm still doing it every now and then. Even when I hop on this Instagram live or wherever you're watching me, I've been there where I'm like, oh, everything has to be great. Otherwise, no one cares. No one is checking to see if I have a script. No one is checking to see if I have the right description. They just want to see me and me present, and no one's judging me. So stop being so hard on yourself. It's going to drive you insane. Okay. Now, everyone talks about, well, Coco, I don't understand. What do you mean by turning overwhelm into an opportunity for growth? Me being in my growth phase right now, my learning phase in this quarter is what I'm talking about. I could definitely continue doing the same things I did in January of last year, right? I was trying to figure out how to run my business. I was not setting boundaries. I was, not working my personal development. I was a hot mess. I mean, granted, not everybody knew, and you probably couldn't see it, but I felt it because I was overwhelmed by doing so many things and trying to manage other people's expectations of me, that I was a hot mess. So right now, yes, I 100% feel overwhelmed with my schedule, and it's a lot busier now than it was last year. But what am I doing right now to alleviate that pressure? I'm working on me. The pressure of getting a high ticket client that is going to be high maintenance and is going to need a lot of my time, I could be like panicking. But instead I'm like, okay, what can I do? Let me go work on my craft. Let me go read some additional books. Let me go get some more knowledge. That way I'm confident and comfortable in taking on a high ticket client. And there's not going to be that self-doubt that says, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. When you're not ready, when you're not prepared, instead of you sitting in that moment, go get prepared. Go get ready. Go do some training. Go get some learning in. Go take some master classes. It's not that difficult. We make it difficult on ourselves because who knows, maybe we're thinking it's too late, or, I don't have time. No, you have time. There's 24 hours in a day. There's 24 hours in a day. I'm working my corporate job. I'm in a relationship. I have a dog. I have a dance team, and I'm running my business. I'm making time to make it happen. And if you feel like you are extremely overwhelmed with time, I have a time management coach that I can send your way that will lock you down and make sure that you are accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish. Okay. So again, there's just a lot of things that you can do to eliminate feeling overwhelmed, because a lot of the pressure we put on ourselves for no reason. So take your to-do list, break it down. Set some proper boundaries so you're not getting overwhelmed by someone else's unrealistic expectations of you. Work on reframing your negative thought process. Okay, this was difficult because we do it all the time and we're so comfortable doing it. And lastly is focus on progress, not perfection. No one in this world is perfect, regardless of what you see on Instagram. No one's perfect. But those individuals that you're seeing be successful is because they're constantly taking action every single day towards their goals. And that's what's important. All right, we're done for the day. I'm looking at the time clock. 19 minutes is not bad. I was hoping for 30 minutes today, but I'm totally fine with doing 19 minutes, 20 minutes. But I do got some takeaways for you. Call to action. If you found this live super beneficial and you want to gain more information, or you feel like you need some additional help, especially with confidence and public speaking, book a one-on-one call. I do a discovery call with you. I walk you through, hey, what's working, what's not working, what are your pain points? And I customize a coaching plan specific to your needs, because no one wants to pay for a coaching and then not see results, right? I'm also hosting a free webinar on February 3rd at 7:30. Now, those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, you like to network, and you just don't feel confident in how you speak, what you say, how you say, telling your story, you don't know how to pitch your business, and you get jumbled and you mess up all your words, then I highly recommend that you sign up for my free webinar that is going to be on February 3rd at 7:30. And it is going to be on the art of storytelling and how impactful this skill set is. It doesn't matter if you're a public speaker. It doesn't matter if you're working in corporate America. It doesn't matter if you work for McDonald's. Storytelling is super, super, super important, because if you can engage your audience based on emotion, they'll be more likely than not to listen to you and be tuned in to what it is that you have to say. So last but not least, utilize the strategies I gave to you today. I thank you again for joining me on Icon Energy, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.